When you're trying to get pregnant, you want to get pregnant now, not tomorrow, not next month, and definitely not next year. That's why if you want to fall pregnant faster, you need to start charting your cycle. And in this video, I'm sharing 5 reasons that charting is my number one fertility tip. Hello lovelies, and welcome to another one of my videos in which I'll be sharing my number one fertility tip, which is charting. And if you've seen any of my videos, then you know charting comes up a lot. But I've never done a dedicated video on why charting is exactly so important. And I've got 5 reasons that I'll be sharing with you, and I'm pretty sure at the end of the video you'll be convinced that you need to get started charting today if you haven't already. Reason number 1, charting helps you get pregnant faster. And I know I kind of already said that, but the bit I want to talk about here is studies, because studies have proven that you are much more likely to conceive when you are charting than when you're just winging it. You know what? Some studies say that you have 5 times more the chance to fall pregnant, and some studies even say 7 times. I think that's pretty significant, right? The reason that charting helps you fall pregnant faster is because of the second reason that you need to be charting, and that is that charting helps you find when you are fertile generally. Charting helps you find when you are fertile personally. And I know that it's very popular to download an app and enter when you have your period, and that the app tells you when you will be ovulating. But how does the app know when you will be ovulating? You are a human being. Things change. You are not the same as any other woman. And yes, textbooks tell us that a cycle is 28 days and that you'll ovulate at day 14. And a lot of women will, but it's just not the case for everybody. So these apps are built on that. However, some good apps out there will also let you enter your temperature, ovulation tests, and all the other things that you need to use with charting, and then they can predict when you will be fertile. But if you're not entering anything else except for your period, an app can't tell you when you will be fertile. Newsflash, you are not fertile every single day of your cycle. Sperm only lives up to 5 days under ideal circumstances, and an egg up to 24 hours. That means you only have the opportunity to fall pregnant about 6 days every cycle. So I bet you kind of want to time lovemaking really well, right? If you start to chart all your fertile signs, and whether that's on paper and that you interpret it yourself, or you put it in an app and you interpret it yourself and the app helps you as well, then over time you'll be able to recognize what your general fertile pattern is. And that can be that you might have just 26-day cycles, which likely means you ovulate earlier, so you don't want to miss the drop of the egg, or that you have longer cycles and that you don't want to make sure you used your fertile window while your fertile window opened much later. Alright, not only does charting help you find your general fertile pattern so that you can plan lovemaking in advance, it also helps you find when you are fertile this cycle. So even if you've never charted but you want to start today, you can still make the most of this cycle. And I am a big fan of that. I even wrote a blog post about it because, as I said, if you're starting to try and conceive, you want to fall pregnant now. And you don't want to wait a couple of months until you understand your fertile pattern. And although that's important and it's foundational, it is not necessary to start making use of your cycle right now, because charting can help you discover when your fertile window opens now. Because just as not every woman will have a standard cycle, it's possible for us to not have standard cycles every month. You might be super regular, but chances are that sometimes you'll have a bit of a longer cycle and sometimes a bit shorter. That means that ovulation is likely happening at a different moment as well. And it is so easy for that to happen because if there is a lot of stuff going on in your body, maybe you're sick or very stressed out, your body's not actually going to prioritize for you to have a baby. Your body's going to prioritize for you to feel better, to be rested and stronger. So it's possible for you to ovulate a lot later in a month. Or it's possible that you have estrogen going up quite early and that you ovulate earlier. And if you think, oh, I always ovulate day 14 and suddenly it's day 12, then you want to know in advance. And charting can help you discover that in time. I actually recently had a patient of mine. She ovulates always like day 14, but she was so stressed out because of work and Christmas time that she didn't ovulate until way later. But because she charts, she could see it, and her husband and she were still able to make the most of their fertile window. I kind of already touched on this, but this is why charting is ideal for women that have irregular cycles. And some of you that have PCOS, charting is super important because with PCOS, it is difficult for your body to ovulate. Some cycles you might not ovulate at all, or you ovulate after several months. And if that egg finally drops, you definitely want to catch it, right? So if you're charting, you'll be able to see when that happens. The fourth reason that you should definitely be charting is that charting helps you discover hormonal problems. You know what? All of my female patients have to chart. That is, if they're of childbearing age or they have a period at all, they have to chart, even if they're not trying to conceive, because from the charts, I'm able to tell if there's any kind of hormonal imbalance. And there are 3 types of hormonal imbalance that I probably see the most. And the first is adrenal issues. So women that are very wired or stressed or are close to burnout, I can see that in their chart. And as you can see in this chart, the temperatures are very erratic and some of them are very low. And this is a typical adrenal fatigue, adrenal issues chart. And if there are adrenal issues, then it is very difficult for your body to produce the right hormones to produce an egg. So if you see that, then it's understandable if you're not ovulating or you're ovulating very late, and you know you really need to start paying attention to your adrenals and take care of those and have more rest. Especially because after a long period of adrenal issues, your thyroid can actually become sluggish to help you calm down and rest. And then you get a chart like this with super low temperatures. Now, of course, hypothyroidism can occur because you have an autoimmune issue or because you have metal toxicity, but I would say a very large portion of the time, maybe 75% of the women that I treat actually have what I call secondary hypothyroidism, and that's secondary to adrenal issues. And those adrenal issues can actually go back to when they were little kids even. It doesn't have to be just stress you had as an adult. So here's the third hormonal issue that you can pick up on really easily, and a lot of women do already when they are charting, and that is if there's low progesterone. And you can see that from a short luteal phase, as you see in this chart, because ideally a luteal phase should be like 13 or 14 days. If it is any shorter than 10 days, it's difficult for a fertilized egg to implant before you have your flow. So that is a big issue for fertility. So these are 3 hormonal issues that you can also easily spot on your chart. However, as a fertility homeopath, having seen so many charts and studying them all the time, I can also see other hormonal imbalances, like if there is a lot of estrogen in your system compared to progesterone, or if FSH is very high, which we don't like because it means that menopause is a lot closer than we'd like it to be. So pretty important to chart. And not only that, I also use it as a tool to see how my patients are responding to treatment, because that's what you want to see. You want charts to be improving, right? Because that means your fertility is improving. I'll link in the description a blog post with some before and after pictures of charts of different hormonal issues before and after homeopathic treatment. You might enjoy watching those. So reason number 5 that fertility charting is my number 1 fertility tip, and that is that charting improves your lifestyle. You know what? Once you start to chart your cycle, you are so much more aware of what's going on in your body. You are so much more in touch with your fertility. You understand so much better when your fertile window is about to open, what estrogen is doing to your body, what progesterone is doing to your body. You start to live much more in a rhythm that is way healthier, because the first part, estrogen, is dominant. And estrogen is all about building and growth, and you're much more likely to be outgoing and to start projects or meet up with people. Well, in the second half, when a pregnancy might be going on, progesterone helps you to be a little bit more introvert and a bit more relaxed and rest more. If you know that, you can adapt your calendar to that, and your life will be much more rhythmic instead of that you are planning all these cool projects for your second half when you don't want to go out. You know what? Part of PMS is actually that you are forcing yourself to do things that your body doesn't want to do in that moment. So if you struggle with PMS, start living according to the rhythm, and any hormonal imbalances can be fixed with homeopathy. Another good example how charting helps you to improve your lifestyle is that you need to take your temperature at the same time every morning. So that means that you will set your alarm the same time every morning, right? And it doesn't take long for you to realize maybe that means I need to go to bed at the same time at night as well. And that really benefits your cortisol and melatonin levels, which is also a rhythm. And if that is imbalanced, your overall hormonal system will also be imbalanced. Have a look at the video I did on why you can't sleep when you're exhausted, because I explained the balance between cortisol and melatonin in there. And if you see that, then you will understand exactly what I mean. Another thing is that if you start to be so much more aware of your fertility and how certain things affect maybe your temperatures or your hormone balance, you're much more likely to do something about it. So this is how fertility charting helps you to improve your lifestyle, and as such, that alone improves your fertility. So now you know that if you want to fall pregnant, you need to start charting. And to make that easy for you, I have put together a charting course that you can start today for free. There are a couple of lessons that explain you exactly the ins and outs of charting, what you need to do, what tools you need, and there are 2 bonus lessons at the end that cover 10 hormonal issues that you can pick up on from charting. So if you suspect anything is keeping you from falling pregnant apart from not knowing when you're fertile, those 2 lessons will help you identify it. If you want to learn more about charting, then make sure to click on the playlist in your screen right now, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to get new videos every Thursday on how to boost your fertility. And in the meantime, see you in the next video. Bye!